I'm Bernadette Hill, host of the Savage Simplicity podcast, where we talk about smart women doing smart things to simplify our lives. I'm a mom, a continuous improvement expert, and if I'm being real, a woman who's had a lot of challenges in her life. But here's one thing I've learned. No one is going to gift us with more time. And that's why we have to be savage about protecting it. Savage Simplicity is more than a podcast. It's a community, a space for women learning from women, a place where we talk about the real stuff, managing stress, setting boundaries, building habits that serve us, and finding the joy in simplicity. So if you're ready to design a life that works for you and not just one you manage to get through, join us, listen in, get inspired, and be part of the Savage Simplicity movement. Today on Savage Simplicity, we're diving into the art of connecting people and streamlining success with efficiency expert Helena Weiss-Duman. As a master of process improvement and project management, Helena's spent decades optimizing organizations from UC Berkeley to global conferences. And whether it's organizing transformative events or simplifying complex workflows, Helena makes efficiency feel effortless. So let's get ready to learn how she turns chaos into clarity. Hi, Helena. Welcome to the pod.
For having me.
Where did you grow up and what shaped your fascination with efficiency and collaboration?
I grew up in the East Bay of San Francisco with a tight-knit family. My mom and grandfather are very organized, and I am told I take after them. I was very involved in club leadership, and group leadership just as my mom and grandfather. And so I think that really started on my uh, path of organizing things as a project manager.
Gotcha. So were you always someone who sought to bring order to chaos, or did that develop over time?
Yes, I've always been organized. I think I was born with the gene.
When I was a kid, I used to reorganize my room once a month. So most of the time, you have to make kids do their chores, and for me, I was always wanting to be in an organized space. It just helped my declutter my brain. Um, what's one early experience that taught you the value of bringing order to chaos and creating systems that work for people?
I think school really helped me. I remember in college, I had post-it notes all over my wall with all my assignments and when they were due. That's one thing that was early on. And I also remember in high school, I created the calendar for spring break. I still have it in my box of memories, but to organize all my friends to, okay, on this day we're going to Great America, the amusement park, and this day we're having a picnic. So I think it's just to organize gatherings. That's really that is a big part of my organization history.
You mentioned a phrase that I love. It's the art of social gathering. Or can you talk a little bit about what the art of social gathering means to you?
Yes, Priya Parker is the author. I highly recommend. She has a lot of content too, if you wanted to go online and follow her. The Art of Gathering, she really talks about thinking about the purpose of why you're gathering and to make sure that everything aligns with the purpose, not just um, it's a birthday party isn't just a birthday party. What is the purpose? What is the need you're serving? Who are the people that are going to make the event add to the purpose of the event and creating the environment and the opening, the closing. There's all kinds of ways of shaping the gathering to elevate it from just the normal gathering to something that is really transformative.
I think you mentioned before that you organized your own wedding. Is that, you want to tell us a little bit
Yes,
about that?
yes. This was back in the day before. professional event managers, wedding planners were so commonplace, but I had organized it on even the rabbi during the ceremony teased me how organized it was, just how everything was laid out. It's just a natural way of for me to write everything out, from the timeline to the materials that you need to pack to the guest list. Just have everything written down to keep it organized.
Did you collaborate with others to help organize the event, or were you sort of the one in control that was organizing it all?
Oh, well, my husband definitely, we designed it together, but we put it together in 6 weeks we were from the when we planned the date. We were engaged for a long time, but we hadn't set the date. But then it was in September and we were at a family event and my grandfather is like, "When are you guys getting married already?" And then we said, "Well, how about November 19th? Is everyone free?" And so everyone said yes. So from it was like mid-September to or the end of September to November 19th, we planned the wedding. So it went really quickly.
Wow. And you loved it, that
Oh, it
experience.
was great. It was great. Yeah, it was great.
How did it feel to at the end of the wedding to know that, or to have it go off perfectly, or how you had planned it?
Oh, it was so fun. And at the end, it's about the people being in the same room. It's rare in your life where you have the people most dear to you all in the same room. So that was the magical part of it.
Time management, people struggle with that, right? And being organized and thinking ahead strategically helps us prepare for big events like such as a wedding, but also helps us in our careers, potentially, and also in our family life, our personal lives. So let's piggyback your personal experiences with some career progression.
Yes, my current role, I am the operational excellence manager at the University of California, Office of the President, and I started that position in December, and it's been a really great fit. I got to take the favorite part of my previous position, and now I do this full time. So I am an internal consultant. I partner with people to improve their processes. I manage a community of practice where we bring together employees and we talk about continuous improvement methodologies and case studies and tools. And then I also manage a software platform that is used across the University of California to help map processes so that people can do documentation and analyze the processes for improvement.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of work. A lot of work, but you said you love it. These are the things that you're doing now are the things that you've enjoyed throughout your life, it appears. And now you get to perform in a role where you get to do all the things you love.
I feel like that's the secret to enjoyment is just stay in your zone of genius. Know what your zone of genius is and find a job that takes advantage of that.
That I'm living that same thing now, and it took me a really long time to recognize, first of all, what do I like doing, right? What am I passionate about? And being authentic about that. Because I think a lot of the times women in professional careers, we are aspiring to fit a model that doesn't always fit with our natural personalities. And it's taken me a really, really long time to learn what you did almost from the beginning, which is okay, what naturally drives me? What am I passionate about? Can I make a career out of it? And I think you sharing your experiences, doing that for yourself over decades, is going to be so meaningful for our listeners.
Oh, one of my first jobs was with the American Heart Association. I was an event planner and I planned fundraising events. And I realized I liked the event planning, but I didn't like the fundraising. So then I transitioned to working in at University of California, Berkeley. I was in the fundraising department and I planned events, but I didn't have, they weren't fundraising events. They were cultivation events, meaning bringing potential donors to campus to learn more about the initiatives, or thank you events. They're called stewardship events to thank folks, and all kinds of different events. It was a really, really great career at UC Berkeley. And so that taught me a lot about event management and project management and collaboration.
And at what point in your career did you pair that natural organizational talent with your social skills and your desire to bring people together for a purpose? When did you pair that with sort of the professional business process improvement methodologies that we sometimes talk about, Lean Six Sigma, but we'll kind of use the terminology continuous improvement as well.
Yeah, let me step back a little bit. My undergrad was in public relations. So that was really about um, communicating with different publics and knowing your purpose, knowing what you wanted them to think, do, and feel, and being very intentional. So then going into events, creating the events that were very intentional. Again, like how do you create the experience for the donor? Um, so that they feel thanked and feel really inspired by their donation. And then that event management led me into project management.
Mm.
Um, so I remember taking my first formal project management class, realizing I had, and a lot of people, everyone does project management, you have, but learning the formal methodologies, I was like, wow, there's a name for this that I do. And then just getting a more nuanced understanding of project management that led me to teaching project management and event planning for 15 years with UC Berkeley Extension, and also creating a certificate program for UC Berkeley staff. So that was really exciting. And but then after 10 years or 15 years, then I kind of moved on. The same thing kind of happened with business process improvement. I had been exposed to a class and I was like, wow, my mind was blown. I'm like, I love this. I didn't know there was a name for this. And so then I started learning more and more about that and got certifications in that. And by then I had transitioned from being an event manager to the deputy director of a 40-person department where my job was more to um, enhance efficiencies through the department. I've been fortunate that my coworkers have always been um, really mission driven. I think if you're going to go into higher ed and nonprofit, um, that's part of the reason you're there. And so everyone has good intentions. And sometimes, though, the silos get in the way, or people don't understand the constraints or incentives of other departments. And so um, bringing people together um, is very helpful in collaboration and just understanding, oh, this is why that person has that requirement, or that's the reason why. So, and then understanding the constraints and incentives, then we can work together to make sure everyone is um, is taken care of. David Allen wrote the book Getting Things Done, and that was a big game changer for me, his methodology. And he talks about he writing down everything in your mind, doing a brain dump, because you want to have stress-free productivity. So if you're spinning um, in your mind and like all the things you have to do, that takes a lot of brain space. So one of the main things he says is to just write everything down, and you have to have a system where it's not going to get lost, right? Um so he's agnostic about, software or analog or just paper, but the point is you have to have everything written down, and then a method for reviewing all those lists. He divides things into next action, and he also talks about next actions. Don't write down, birthday party. Write down reserve room for birthday parties. So you actually know what you're supposed to do next. Um, and I mean, I could go on and on about David Allen and his methodology, but there's a ton online that you can find summaries and um, videos, and a lot of people have used his methodology as a base for their own productivity.
So he is focused on personal productivity.
Pretty much, yes. I mean, he does has some applications for how to bring it to work, but it's mostly about personal productivity. Mhm.
You said it was a game changer. Is there something that you immediately were able to um, adapt from his reading and I don't know how many years ago that was, but how many,
Mhm.
something that you were able to immediately adapt from his reading, from reading his book?
Yeah, so I ended up getting the app OmniFocus, which is designed with they call it GTD, getting things done methodology in mind. And I just write everything down. It's very easy on my laptop, it's synced with my phone. And so my mind is not cluttered. And so I have all of these projects and tasks organized, and I can have ticklers, and it has a way to on Fridays I review everything to make sure I'm not missing anything. And it's been a really, really great system for me to have less stress because I know it's captured and I know that I'm gonna not lose anything. So that's what I did. And
Okay, so
it was really when I started a new position. I had a methodology that wasn't working um, as a individual contributor versus a manager. So this helped me.
this sounds really interesting to me. What I tend to do is so I have my phone, and if I have an idea and I don't want to forget it, I basically do a note to self and email it to myself to work, because work is where I spend most of my time. And, usually it's about something at work. And so I'm able to go in and see it. But your process sounds a bit different. Can you talk a little bit specifically about, you said your phone was hooked up to your computer. Do you take notes on your note phone in your pad, and then it goes to it goes to your computer, and then you've got some system where you organize it? I'm imagining it's not causing you a big administrative burden to do the organization. Can you talk a little bit about what that process looks like for you?
Yeah. So another someone that's influenced me is Cal Newport. He wrote the book A World Without Email. So,
Oh,
so that and because there's so much my email, I'm constantly trying to reduce my overwhelm of email. But he makes the case that email is a terrible to-do list
mm-hmm.
because you it's not necessarily organized and the subject doesn't really give you that next action. So what I do is I forward my email. It's integrated with OmniFocus, and then I turn it into a task with an actionable item. So say, for example, I get, an I don't know, an email alert from my bank saying something, and then I will forward it to my OmniFocus, my task manager, and I'll say change the subject line to, check Bank of America. And then I'll put it like, oh, I can't do it today. So I'll put it on the date for tomorrow. And that way the email is in there, it's out of my inbox, it's in my task manager. I've scheduled it, the content, the information is there. I'm not going to lose it. So that would be an example of a workflow.
You took this role where you are now a leader, so that uh, necessitated some immediate change. You got your arms wrapped around this ever growing to do list and your email. How long did it take you to get to a place where you feel like you are today?
Oh my gosh, years. I don't think I'm ever done.
Hmm.
Another book I can recommend is Atomic Habits by James Clear, and he talks about how small changes pay dividends over time. So I think you just really have to think big, but start small, and it
Hmm.
never ends because the tools change, technology changes, your job changes. So it's a never ending um, tweak. I'm tweaking constantly.
That's continuous improvement, right? We live by a philosophy of being intentional and controlling what you can, and sort of letting go what you can't, right? What you can't
Exactly.
control. All right, so it looks like you have you've recommended at least one efficiency tool or framework, that OmniFocus. You've also talked about virtual coworker. I know that not everybody is an extrovert, but you are. So if you'd like to talk about how you use virtual coworker, that might help some folks who struggle with our virtual environment.
Yes. So I like to do time blocking. So the night before, I like to think about what I want to do for my work, mostly work time blocking.
Hmm.
Um, and I found that I wasn't really sticking to my plan. So for that extra accountability, I've been using this tool called FocusMate, and it's virtual co-working. And it's not for everyone, but for people who love it, they really love it. So go on the platform, you make an appointment. They're either 25, 50, or 75 minutes long, and you're paired with someone from around the world, and you meet. It's it's not a Zoom meeting, but kind of like that. It's a video call, and you meet with cameras on, and at the top of the session, you share what you're going to be getting done by the end of the session. And then when the timer goes off, you just share um, how you did. And it's up to you what to share about. But to me, it has been such a game changer. That little extra accountability keeps
Hmm.
me focused, and I love it.
You find that it helps your workflows and it keeps you accountable and keeps you getting
Yes.
things done and moving forward.
Yes. Yep.
Awesome. All right, so you've mentioned a few books already. So I'm going to ask you about what podcasts you're listening to now, other than mine, of course.
Yes, I love podcasts. My favorite one is Asian Efficiency. I've been listening to it years, and it has something new every time. I also recommend The Lazy Genius by Kendra Adachi, The Best of Both Worlds with Laura Vanderkamp. The other people I follow, Tiago Forte is really great when it comes to digital organization and productivity. He has a lot of YouTube channels, YouTube videos. Um, Cal Newport is another one, and Greg McCowan. He wrote the book Essentialism, which is another great book to read.
Any final words of wisdom for those looking to simplify collaboration and create meaningful, efficient spaces for people to thrive?
Think big, start small. Small changes will provide dividends over time.
The purpose of Savage Simplicity is to help people break down big goals into small next steps that are actionable for them so that we can move forward and continuously improve our lives. I appreciate your time, Helena, and look forward to having you on the podcast again. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
And that was community builder and efficiency expert Helena Weiss-Duman, reminding us to find our zone of genius as early as possible, manage our tasks before they manage us, build a career you really love by adding more of what excites you year after year. You can connect with Helena on LinkedIn and check the show notes for all resources mentioned. See you next time on Savage Simplicity.